our fourth speaker, Mr. Dominique Petit, President of French Aerophilatelic Circle CAF and Vice President of FISA. He will be speaking on the topic June 13, 1930, Henri Guillaumet lost in the Andes. Over to you, Mr. Petit.
Thank you very much. And hello to everybody. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are listening from us. Before going to discussing in detail the crash of Henri Guillaumet and the adventures that followed this crash in the Andes, I would like to summarize very briefly the status of the development of this French South America line, which was developed by Aéropostale. Originally, the project was conducted by Pierre-Georges Latécoère, who as early as 1918, when the First World War was not fully over, had the project of developing an airmail line between France and South America. And there's a famous sentence which has been reported by Pierre-Georges Latécoère, saying that all the specialists have concluded that our project is impossible. There is only one thing left for us, is just to make it succeed. What happened next? Pierre-Georges Latécoère, so it was the Latécoère line at first, developed the beginning of the line between France and Morocco. Starting the service started in 1919. And then it was extended to Senegal and Dakar. That was the first beginning. Dakar was reached in 1923. Then in 1925, Pierre-Georges Latécoère conducted a mission in South America to develop the line between in Brazil and Argentina. But after that, he realized in beginning 1926 that he didn't have the political support nor maybe the financial support to develop the entire line. So he sold the airline part of his business to French Brazilian entrepreneur called Bouillou Lafont, who purchased Latécoère Airlines in 1927 and renamed them Aéropostale. That's where the name Aéropostale comes from. The exact name was CGA, meaning Compagnie Générale Aéropostale. And this businessman, Henri Bouillou Lafont, had financial resources and the political support to develop the line in South America. So to go quickly, the first airmail service by Aéropostale between France and Argentina, Buenos Aires, was inaugurated on March 1st, 1928. Then the idea was to push this line towards Chile, and the first trial flight between Buenos Aires and Santiago was performed by Mermoz, a name that surely many people know, and is engineer colonel on the Latte 25 on November 18, 1928. The second trial flight by Mermoz again in Colo shows that the Latte 25, so Latte are the names of the Latécoère aircraft. What I didn't say before is that Latécoère kept the aircraft manufacturing business and produced regularly new airplanes. So the Latte 25 didn't have a sufficient ceiling to fly over the Andes. Its maximal ceiling was around 5,500 meters. And so Aeropostal purchased Potes 25 aircraft, which were sent from another company, manufacturing company called Potes, which were sent in Argentina in May 1929. So, and finally,
I'm trying to actually turn it all the way down.
Okay. And finally, the Argentina-Chile airmail service was started on July 15, 1929, by Mermoz and Guillaumet. So the way it worked is that the connection between Buenos Aires and Mendoza just before the Andes was performed on the Latte 26, and then the Mendoza-Santiago was accomplished on the Potes 25, and this numbering of this Potes 25, we did the first service was the AGDY. I just attach one cover of the official opening of the Buenos Aires-Santiago airmail connection. So this cover is signed by, so to give you an example of the signature of Henri Guillaumet at the bottom. The franking was 25 cents, 5 cents for a normal letter, air fee, 20 cents for 10 grams. So this gives you the global picture of the development of the line to South America and its extension to Chile. So this publicity by Aeropostal, you see the total line which had been developed by Aeropostal. So France to Toulouse here at the bottom at South France, to Morocco, Dakar, then Dakar, Natal. So at first, the crossing of the South Atlantic was done by what we call aviso. It's a kind of military ship which were leased by Aeropostal to the French Navy. And then the line from Natal to Rio de Janeiro, Buenos Aires, Montevideo, and the last part from Buenos Aires to Chile. There's also a line to south of the south part of Argentina, which was approximately at the same time developed by a famous pilot and writer called Saint-Exupéry, and Mermoz also. So the departure from France were on Sunday, arrived on Buenos Aires on the next Sunday, so it was 1 week, and Santiago on Monday, just 1 day. And the departure from Santiago were on the Friday, so it was a weekly service. Buenos Aires on Saturday, arrived to France the next Saturday. So you have the global picture now of this line. Just a few words of Henri Guillaumet. Henri Guillaumet was born in Bouilly, near Reims. Reims, that's a place where champagne is manufactured for those who celebrate Christmas with champagne, on May 29, 1902. He was enlisted in the French Air Force after the end of the First World War on October 15, 1921. So it was an excellent pilot who won the Military Zenith Cup on June 15, 1929. He ended up his military career as with the grade of sergeant. He joined the line Latécoère, so it's in February 1st, 1926. And he was immediately appointed on the line between Casablanca and Dakar. So in June 29, he was sent to South America and performed 393 crossings of the Andes in all his career, which is exceptional. From September 1934 to January 1939, he was appointed on the line Dakar to Natal, and when the aviso were taken out of service and the service was accomplished by airplanes, both at first it was flying boats, and then normal planes with wheels. And he performed 84 crossings of South Atlantic. In 1938, he was on the North Atlantic line, 12 crossing between Biscarrosse and New York. Biscarrosse is a place not south of Bordeaux, where they had it's a place for the departure of the seaplanes to New York. Unfortunately, he was killed on November 27, 1940, as he was flying Farman 223, flying from Marignane to Beirut. His plane was caught in the middle of a fight between the English and Italian forces in the middle of the Mediterranean, and his plane was shot down south of Sardinia, probably by an Italian fighter, most likely by an Italian fighter aircraft. He was flying the new French governor to Lebanon, and on the same plane was another famous pilot who was killed at the same time. It's Marcel Reine, who was also a very famous pilot of the Latécoère and then Aéropostale and Air France lines. Okay, so let's now go back to the main, now that you have the global picture to the main subject, which is Santiago, Toulouse. So, flight. So it was the AMFRA. When you see AMFRA, it means America, France, Mail. So it was the 124th crossing of the Andes mountain range by Aéropostale, and for Henri Guillaumet it was his 92nd crossing of the Andes. The aircraft was a Potes 25 A2 FAJDZ. The Potes 25 had the possibility to climb up to 7,000 meters. So on June 12, as you see in the picture of the logbook of Henri Guillaumet, he tried to cross the Andes mountain range, but was obliged to fly back to Chicago, Colina Airfield, due to the very bad weather conditions. In fact, there were two possibilities to cross the Andes. One which followed the Transandino rail line, and one other one more south, which was through this place of the Laguna del Diamante. So on Friday, June 13, it tried again, but his plane was caught in a snowstorm, and Guillaume, almost out of fuel, was obliged to land on a flat surface surrounding the Laguna del Diamante at an altitude of 3,300 meters. And he landed, but the landing ended up with rollover because of the snow. So at the bottom you see his comments on his logbook. Atterrissage en pleine Cordillère, capotage violente tempête de neige, retour à pied le 19-6-30. So landing in the Andes, rollover, severe snowstorm, walk back on June 19, 1930. So here is a picture of Henri Guillaumet on board of his Potes 25 aboard the Andes, and a painting by a famous French painter, for airplanes at least, Pierre Langelet, of his Potes 25 flying above the Andes. Here today picture of the Laguna Diamante. So what happened here? You have a picture of on the bottom of the Potes 25 on his back, after his rollover in front of the Maipo volcano. In the back, next to this Laguna Diamante, there is a volcano which maximum height is 5,260 meters. So during the snowstorm, Guillaumet, which was not wounded, took shelter under the wing of his plane until the storm ends on Sunday morning, June 15. At the same time, the same day, Pierre Delay, who was the head of the Aeropostal Colina Air Base in Santiago, flew over to try to locate the Potez 25, but in fact he didn't see him. On the contrary, Guillaumet saw him, sent a flare, but Delay unfortunately didn't see the Potez 25. On June 15, after Guillaumet realized that Delay and the Aeropostal will not be able to find him, decides to try to reach by himself the plains of Argentina on foot. He took with him a suitcase containing some food, his compass, and with a stone he wrote, you have pictures of the actual pictures of what he wrote on his plane. N'ayant pas été repéré par l'avion, je pars vers l'est. Adieu à tous, ma dernière pensée sera pour ma femme, which means in English, not having been spotted by the plane, I am heading east. Farewell to all, my last thought will be for my wife. And Thursday, June 19, after having walked 5 days and 4 nights of an existing walk, finally Guillaumet finds a ranch where he was taken in by a woman. You must realize that this was in the winter period so June is a winter period in the South Hemisphere, and he walked in the snow. It was impossible for him to sleep, because if he tried to get to sleep, he would have been frozen to death. So he kept walking, probably rested from half an hour from time to time, certainly. But it was impossible for him to take a real nap and sleep during so it was a terrible walk. Here is a picture of the ranch and the woman who took in Guillaumet on June 19. This picture was taken later on. On June 20, 1930, naturally, the Aeropostal was informed. So 7 days after the crash, that Guillaumet had been found, and Saint-Exupéry and René Lefebvre. Saint-Exupéry, I guess everybody knows Saint-Exupéry, who is also the writer of the Petit Prince, the Small Prince. And Saint-Exupéry was the one who inaugurated the line at this time, and he was a managing position in South America for Aeropostal. He also inaugurated the line from Buenos Aires to Patagonia. So you see here Guillaumet, and in the middle, Guillaumet in the middle, Saint-Exupéry, and Jean-René Lefebvre was an engineer. And telegram was sent from the steamship Lutetia by Marcel Bouilloux-Lafont, I talked to you about some minutes ago, was the CEO of CGA, of the Aéropostale, to Jean Mermoz, informing me that his friend Henri Guillaumet had been found with minor bruises, légère contusion. There is a sentence which has been reported here by Saint-Exupéry in one of his books called Terre des Hommes. Ce que j'ai fait, je te le jure, jamais aucune bête ne l'aurait fait. In English, what I did, I swear to you, no animal would ever have done it. So, in December 1930, was the recovery of the plane and the airmail, because Guillaumet took care of the mail and I did it in the plane so that it could be recovered. So at the summer, so in December, so this is summer in Southern Hemisphere, a team led by Jean-René Lefebvre collects the mail and the aircraft, which was then dismantled and transported down by land. It didn't flew away from the Laguna Diamante. So here you have a few scans of pictures were taken by Jean-René Lefebvre. These scans were made directly from the original of the picture, which some of you may already have seen. So now let's go to Aérophilatélie after all this story. So recovered mail from the Potez 25 are among the most iconic pieces of French Aérophilatélie. The mail bags transported on these flights from Chile contain usually an average of about 30 items of mail. Today we have identified 24 covers from this crash of June 30 belonging to various collections. We estimate that less than 30 have survived to the present day. These covers have generally lost all or part of their stamps after 6 months of exposure to the elements. And there is a wide range of variety of stamp and marks that gives to these covers their charm. And I will go through the different types of covers which have been which are known from this crash. Okay. The most common, if I can say so, 6 covers are known. Display a black mark, retard dû au service, which means delay due to the service, which was fixed in Paris. Here is an example which belongs to the Postal Museum in Paris. It's a cover Santiago, June 5, 1930 to Paris. The rate is normal rate should have been 390, but obviously you see that there is a stamp missing at the bottom. So that's one type of covers which are known. A second type are black with a black mark, again the same black mark, retard dû au service, plus incorrect handwritten notes. Here you have the retard dû au service black mark, but you have also written in the left corner, upper corner, avion tombé en mer, which means avion aircraft crashed into the sea, which obviously not the case. Another one with an incorrect hand mark is avion tombé en Atlantique, which means aircraft crash in the Atlantic, sent June 12, received December 22. Excuse me. And again, the same hand mark, retard dû au service. Another mark, which is less common, only 2 covers known with this very rare marking. It's almost the same, but it's written now, retard dû au service avion. There is a word avion in addition, delay to the aircraft service. There is one letter from Pisagua, June 4, 1930, addressed to Paris. Now, another type of covers are covers which received in Paris Nord. Paris Nord is the north railway station in Paris. You have here this label, accident de service, lettre parvenue mouillée au bureau de tri de Paris Nord, 23/12/1930, which means cover. So this is a cover from Santiago, June 12, 1930, to Montrouge, which is a suburb of Paris, with this Paris Nord, 23rd, 12, 1930, which means letter received. And there is a comment on it, letter received wet at the mail sorting office, Paris Nord, 23rd, 12, 1930. With this type of label, we know we have identified 4 covers. Another similar one with the same label, but which was addressed to Germany. So the label, so there's a handwritten note in German, fehlende Wertzeichen, nicht vorgefunden, Berlin 228 plus Unterschrift, which means missing stamps not found, Berlin C28 plus a signature. Here is the handwritten note which was applied in Germany. Again, there is a stamp missing. Probably the post office want to disclaim the fact that there was a stamp missing and that it should not be accused of having taken it away. Another one, other type with incorrect, we know 2 such covers with an handwritten note, which says an incorrect handwritten note, aircraft crashed into the sea, arrived in poor condition at P15, which means Paris 15, and without figurines, the controller illegible signature. In French, it's avion tombé en mer, parvenu en mauvais état à Paris 15 et sans figurine, le contrôleur signature illisible. Now we turn to covers to the UK with this damage by seawater marking, which you see. So this is a recommended cover, Valparaiso, June 11 to London. And you have a note by the head postmaster saying that the accompanying letter can perhaps be delivered with an explanation to the effect that they have recently been recovered from an airplane of the Santiago Buenos Aires South America Air Service, which was forced to descend in the Andes on June 14, June 1930. An expression of regret on behalf of the department should also be conveyed. The same similar damage by sea water, but this time with damage by immersion in seawater, IS, I don't know exactly what it means, boxed, only knows this cover with this boxed special marking. So it's a cover from Antofagasta, June 15, June 5, sorry, to Santiago, June 5, and then to Stoke-on-Trent in the UK. Now we another type of cover to the UK with another type of handwritten notes, and then the plane. This was more, the plane carrying the mail crashed in the Sea of Montevideo. The letter was recovered but did not reach France until mid-December. In fact, there is probably, certainly, a confusion in the explanation with the crash of the Latte 28 FJPD, which caused the death of 3 persons of Aeropostal plus 1 Brazilian journalist, with crash off Montevideo on May 10, 1930. And the pilot was Negrin, Prunetta was engineer, and Pranville was the director of Aeropostal, technical director of Aeropostal in South America at that time. They all perished in that crash. So probably this hand marking is due to the confusion with this crash, which took place a little bit early before the Guillaumet crash. Another interesting cover. This one, this cover was dated June 10, 1930, was sent to Valparaiso to the Pacific Steam Navigation Company in Liverpool, to be delivered to a passenger aboard the Orduña departing for South America on June 2. So the cover was then returned by the Transandino Railway to Valparaiso, where it was stamped Passenger Department January 21st, 1931, and received the handwritten note recovered from a plate forced down in the Andes June 14. So this cover was finally handed over to the Pacific Steam Navigation Company, which sealed it with adhesive tape bearing the company name and the inscription received in Valparaiso on February 28, 1931, before returning it to its recipient by surface mail or ordinary mail service. So in fact, this cover was in the Guillaumet plant, sent to Europe, finally sent to Europe, and sent back to South America. Here we have a few covers to Germany. This cover has its complete franking of 7.10 pesos. So this cover from Valparaiso, June 11, 1930 to Hamburg, and which has on a label on the back, Verzögert Grund Flugzeugunfall, which means reason for delay aircraft crash. And so it was a little label on the back. That's the back of the label. Another type of cover to Germany with a purple marking that you see here, beschädigt eingegangen, amtlich verschlossen, received damage, officially sealed. And now I will end up this presentation with a very amazing cover to Germany, which I display on an incredible cover. So this is a cover from Valparaiso, June 11, 1930, to Cologne, December 22nd, 1930, and Chemnitz in Germany. It bears its complete franking of 7.8 pesos, letter 70 cents, air feet twice, 2 times 3.2 pesos per 5 gram, plus recommendation 70 cents. So there is a note from the Cologne Dutch station post office, the enclosed registered letter number 1521 from Valparaiso arrived damaged and delayed on train D145 on December 22nd, station office 10 Erbstahl, Cologne. Close, plane crash on the Valparaiso Buenos Aires flight. Okay, but what is amazing is the next slide. So inside this this cover, there was this postcard which was carried on the Graf Zeppelin LC 127 1930 Südamerika. So it's the guy who was a recipient of the letter, Albert Bayer, had sent to his correspondent in Chile 2 cards of the Graf Zeppelin, one for his correspondent in Chile to keep, and the other to be returned to him, which happened to be on the Guillaumet crash flight. So on these postcards, you have the departure Friedrichshafen, May 18, 1930, transit Rio de Janeiro, May 25, and arrival in Valparaiso, July 6, 1930. And there is a faded red round marking of the Südamerika FARC, which you see here. And this happened to this postcard, the one that he had to return to Alfred Bayer, happened to be on the Guillaumet flight, which made this set of Guillaumet crash plus the Graf Zeppelin postcard of the Südamerika FARC an exceptional set for to be displayed. So, how it looks today, that's pictures of the Laguna del Diamante today, you recognize in the summer, and there is a small monument which has been set up there in front of the Maipo volcano. So I wanted to show you, but I think you can do it by yourself, a movie about this incredible story of Guillaumet disappearance and the condition of his survival was made of a movie by Jean-Jacques Arnaud called The Wing of Courage. So it's a movie which was in English, 1995. If you click on Google or YouTube, you certainly can find it, and it's a 40 minutes movie which encourage you to look at. It's a very good movie. So that was all for my presentation. Thank you everybody for its attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Petit.